everybody. Welcome back to the Julie and Jim Traber podcast. I'm Jim Traber along with my beautiful wife, Mrs. Julie Traber. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm having fun talking to you about baseball.
Wow. Part two. This is part
two, yeah.
Jim Traber, my life.
Not your whole life.
No, not my whole life.
But so many people are always wanting to hear baseball stories. You're always getting questions about, from parents. What advice do you have for my kid?
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a really fun topic. We've never done this before, just to talk about your baseball career. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, go back and listen to it because that's all about little Jimmy Joe when he first started playing baseball at 5 and said he was going to make it to the big leagues. And we went all the way through college at Oklahoma State when you were drafted by the Orioles.
That's right.
And that's kind of where we
now
closed out
the hard part of my life.
So, but did you know that at first? Because I think in everybody's head, at least from mine, you think, oh, you get drafted, you just got tons of money, and life is going to be glamorous and like exciting. And what were you thinking that when you first signed?
No, because I had dudes that I played with like the year before got drafted and came back.
So you had heard this story.
Yeah, I knew what it was like. I knew. No, I didn't know I was going to Bluefield, West Virginia. That was the most hickified hillbilly place you've ever seen in your life. It was beautiful though. I mean, oh my gosh.
We've driven through there before.
I did it.
It's gorgeous.
I showed you those mountains.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh. And the stadium sat down in these mountains, and there were two mountains like that were big, and when a storm came, it would come right through those mountains. And you could see the storm, and it would be raining over there, and then it would come right over and just drop on the stadium.
So is that where you were actually living, was in Bluefield?
Absolutely. I lived in Bluefield, West Virginia. We had a house called the Animal House where like 6 or 7 people lived.
And I bet it was truly an animal house.
Oh, it was so bad. So bad. I mean, it was big, huge house. It had to be 10,000 square feet. And, we all lived in there, and I can't even remember. I was making, I think, $600 a month.
I feel like they would have had to just burn the place down after you all left.
No, because baseball players went every year.
That's what I'm saying, though. At the end of that,
it'd be fun to go back there and see if it's still there.
See what it looks like.
But Bluefield had been in the Baltimore Orioles organization for a long time. I mean, all of them played there. Cal Ripken, everybody played in Bluefield.
Interesting.
So that's where I started, and it was really kind of ridiculous that I was there because I had just come from the College World Series, and I'm facing like high school dudes, and I led the league in everything. It was ridiculous. I should have never been there. It was a waste of a year. But the team, we won the championship. We were an unbelievable team. I mean, I think we played like 70 games. I think we won 52 of them or something. I mean, we dominated. And then they sent me up to A-ball the last like 5, 6, 7 games to go to A-ball. And I hit a little bit there too. So then that was the first year. And I mean, this place, Julie, I know you come from countrified areas, but like every Friday night when we played a game at home, like we would get about 1,000 people for a game. On Friday night, we'd get like 4,000. And they were all up there with overalls on and no shirt. And it's because they would come to town from the mountains. And so I remember one day I had a really good game, and I came out after the game, and I saw this old pickup truck. And when I say old pickup truck, I mean like 1950s, right? And these guys were over there with overalls on, and one had a straw hat with a pipe. I mean, it's just like you would see like in Deliverance. And they were like, Traber, great game. And I said, thanks a lot. They said, come on over here. And I was like, oh, gosh. But you know me, I talk to people. Yeah. So I went over there, and I started talking to them, and they're like, you ever drink moonshine? I was like, no, I never have. He goes, you got to try ours. Ours is the best in the area.
Because wasn't it a dry county back then?
Yes, it was a dry county. And there were other dry counties when I went and played some other places I can talk about later. But, so I tasted their moonshine. And I will tell you that if you want to know what it tasted like, go to your pharmacy and get some rubbing alcohol and pour it down your daggone throat.
It burned all the way down.
I could not. It burnt. I had to go to the little 7-Eleven that they had and get like heartburn medicine.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was, and I was like, yeah, man, it's good. You want something? No, I'm good, man. I better not be drinking that, I mean, it was incredible, man. Like in mason jars. I mean, It was just exactly what you would see. And
That's
they were like,
crazy.
anybody who wants to buy some moonshine, let us know. Okay. I said, I tell you what, if anybody asks me, I'll make sure. I said, and then I was joking as I was walking away and he said, how do you get a hold of me? I said, oh, we'll get a hold of you. I was like, oh, okay. See you later. I was
Wow.
now I was a little bit. Remember, this was in 82. I was only 21 years old.
Yeah.
I was 21, man. I went to school at 17. I was 21 years old. I would have been 22 in December.
So how long were you there?
Just that 1 year. I was there from June until September. And then in the off season, I went back and substitute taught and did stuff like live with my mom and dad, had a great time, did whatever the heck I wanted to do. And then I would go back to spring training again, like every spring. That was my first spring training. And
So where'd you go to next?
Miami, Florida, where our spring training was. And I got one game. Sometimes when they're playing two games at one time, they'll play one like in Miami and maybe one in Sarasota or something. They'll bring some minor leaguers up to play. Well, I was a young minor leaguer, and they let me play one game, a big league game. And I hit a double with the bases loaded. And I was so proud of myself. Because now I'm 22. And Cal Ripken said to me, I remember playing against you in high school. And I said, I remember it too. And he goes, I think I struck you out every time. I said, dude, I think you threw a 3-hitter and I had 2 hits. And he goes, no, that's ridiculous. But that is the truth. He threw a 3-hitter and I had 2 hits against him. But he was just an unbelievable stud. So anyway, we talked and that helped. That always helps, if the guys on the team like you. But then I was back down with the minor leaguers. Oh, minor league camp is horrible. Oh, my gosh. You stay in these stupid dorms and you play baseball all day long and the fields stink and it's like dusty and hot. Oh, I hated it. And no money.
I was going to say, how much money did they give you to eat off of?
In the minor leagues, well, in rookie ball, it was $12 a day was your money when you went away. And then it went up to $15 a day. Now, when I was in the big leagues, it was like $90 a day. And then when I was with the Diamondbacks doing it was like $120 a day. And I've heard now that it's like $300 a day. That's on top of your salary.
Right.
So, yeah, but no, we were making no money. We ate so much pizza. We'd order pizza and stuff. So I was fighting and scratching. I really wanted to go to AA because AA is where prospects go, and that's where the best baseball is. You show what you can do in AA.
But you have to pay your dues.
But of course, being a 21st rounder, there was no chance I was going to AA. They had this other guy named Dave Falcone who played at the University of Florida. He was this big, huge dude, man, built like a rock. But I was so much better of a baseball player than him, it wasn't even funny. So, but they said that I remember they called me in and said, look, we're really excited about what you're doing, but go to A-ball and tear it up. You'll move up. So he goes to AA. I go to A-ball. Every single day, they would have the stats for every league that they would put in our locker room. So I would look at him every day to see what Falcone was doing. And he wasn't doing great. So I go to A-ball, and it's in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is an hour and a half from my home. So I had homeboys coming up, and we were partying. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I'm tearing it up, Joel. I mean, again, and I make the All-Star team. And right before the All-Star, matter of fact, we were celebrating the All-Star game because I think me and like 5 other guys made the All-Star team. So we were out partying one night. And it was a great night. We were having a great time partying. And here comes the manager walking in the front door. It was probably about 12:30 in the morning. So we go running out the back. Well, he had his wife at the back door.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Were you not allowed to do that? Was that frowned upon?
Who knows? I mean, who knows? We're grown men,
Yeah.
okay? I mean, you're going to have a curfew for us? It was ridiculous.
Was there a curfew?
He said there was. I didn't know of any curfew. It's a good thing he didn't come in other nights because I was there every night at the same place. So anyway, next day I come in, they suspend me.
Just you?
I'm the only one that gets suspended. And I am mad. So we're like 5 days from the All-Star game. And I asked him, I said, y'all going to let me in the All-Star game? He said, they didn't say. So I drove home. And I thought I'll go home in Columbia for a few days and party with my homeboys and have a good time. So I come walking in the door. My dad goes, "What are you doing?" I told him what happened. And he goes,
"Get your butt back.
Get your butt out of this house. You get right back in that car and you drive back to Hagerstown." And he said, "And this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to every game, buy a ticket, sit in the stands, and watch every game." And he goes, "And then in the daytime, I want you to find a hitting cage and I want you to go hit." Because they wouldn't let me practice. They wouldn't let me do anything. I was like, "Dad," he goes, "You will never sit in this house. You will never sleep in this house again if you don't go up there." He said, "You're not going to do this." So, I mean, here I am, 22 years old. I listen to what my dad said. So I drive back up there and I do all that. And then I come to him the day before the All-Star weekend. And I go to him and I say, "What's going on?" He goes, "They said they're going to let you play." So I was suspended for the last 3 games of the season. And then I drove down to where the game was, in the All-Star game. And so I'm sitting in the outfield. We're taking batting practice. And this little kid comes running out to me and goes, "Are you Mr. Traber?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Jim Traber." And he goes, "You got a phone call." I'm like, "Where?" He goes, "Up in the press box." So I have to run off the field in this All-Star game and go all the way up to the press box. And I get the phone, and it's my coach, John Hart. He's a tremendous man. I played with him in A-ball, AA, all the way up. He's a great man. And he goes, "Hey." I said, "What's up, dude? I think, like, not letting me play? What's going on?" And he said, "You're going to AA." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yep." He goes, "I've already cleaned out your apartment for you.
What?
We'll bring all the stuff down to Charlotte. When you're done with that game, drive to Charlotte." So I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. That's where the All-Star game was. And I drove after the game. I had a really good game. And then I drove from there to Charlotte. Well,
Were you so excited?
Well, oh, yeah. So Charlotte was terrible. And they brought me, two other players, and 2 pitchers. And then John Hart went to be the manager. That Falcone dude, they sent him to AAA. And I was in AA. And we, in that half season, tore the league to shreds. I had my best hitting year I've ever had. And we won the championship. Because the first half and the second half, they would play each other. Then you'd play the other league. Well, we dominated. And we were just a psycho team. Like, we had people suspended. I mean, we were psychotic, but we were great. And after the season was over, when we were celebrating in the locker room, throwing, beer on everybody, the manager stood up and said, "Hey, I got an announcement." And he goes, "We've got 3 guys that are going to the big leagues." And he said, Kenny Dixon, Nate Snell, and Jim Traber.
Wow.
And I was like, so I went from being suspended in 3 months to going to the big leagues. So I get to the big leagues.
Well, hold on. I want to just savor this a minute. What was that feeling like?
No, it was
like you'd wanted to do this since you were 5 years old. What was going through your head?
I mean, I don't remember anything about the drive home from Charlotte to Columbia. I don't remember going to the ballpark. But the one thing that I remember when I got there is that they were planning on not playing me. Like, they weren't even going to sign me to a big league contract. They just wanted me to be with the team for 10 days at the end. And then I found out that everybody was pining for me on the radio because I'm from Columbia, and everybody, they fought, these Oriole fans, they knew everything that the minor leaguers were doing. Sure. And they saw the numbers I was putting up, and they said, "Bring him up." But they did, so people could at least see that I'm there.
Just to appease them, exactly. But they weren't planning to use you.
That's right. So I took batting practice, and I put on a tremendous show. I mean, I probably took 25 swings, and I'll bet you I hit 20 home runs. I mean, it was just one after another, boom, boom, boom. And I went out to take ground balls at first base, and Eddie Murray came to me again and said, "Dude, I told you before." I said, "I'm sorry, but they want me to take ground balls." So anyway, Eddie and I became really close. He was I love him. And then, so after it was over, they brought me into the locker room after batting practice and said, "We're going to go ahead and sign you." So I went into the office, and I signed a contract. And then the next day, I started my first game. And it was unbelievable.
Now, I have a question about that, because I've always heard that it was your first game in the big leagues that you sang the national anthem as well. Right. So was that the game?
That's the game, yeah. That next day, it's my first game ever. And
were your parents, was your family there at the game?
My mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, everybody came in. And I sang the national anthem.
Now, how did you get into that position to sing? How did everybody know?
They knew that I sang because I used to sing in the minor leagues. Matter of fact, I have so many stories I could tell you about. In A-ball, one time we were in I think Pikesville, which is that was one of the dry areas, and we had a rain delay. And the people, they knew that I would sing. So they came over and said, we'll give you $50 if you sing a couple songs. So I sang Impossible Dream. Yeah, I know. It's funny, isn't it? I mean, I sang 3 songs.
I'm only laughing because I'm like, you get $12 to eat. $50.
I would have sang 10 songs.
You're like, you want me to take my shirt off too?
It was unbelievable. $50. That was unbelievable. I mean, we celebrated that night like you couldn't believe. So everybody knew that I could sing. So they asked me to sing the national anthem. I said, yeah, I was more nervous to sing the national anthem than I was playing the game. But it was incredible, man, to be in the Memorial Stadium with all these dudes on the bench, And then my first at bat was against this guy named Oil Can Boyd. And he was a psycho, okay? He's a black dude and was crazy. And there weren't many black pitchers back then, right? Not a lot. So people would, I don't know, there was still racism going on back then. So there were people that used to yell at him and from the stands and everything, and he became psychotic. So I get up against him.
Or was that just his persona, to intimidate people?
Well, he was crazy.
Yeah.
He wasn't very big, but he wasn't really that intimidating. But he was a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
But he threw me 4 changeups in a row because it's my first at bat.
Sure.
And I am geared up.
Yeah.
And he struck me out. And I didn't strike out much. I wasn't one of these dudes that plays nowadays. I hated striking out.
Yeah.
So I walked back to the dugout. First one, you got Eddie Murray, Cal Ripken, Gary Renicky, all these dudes. It was an old team that I was with, right? And I put my helmet in my little cubby hole, and I put my bat in the cubby hole, and I took my batting gloves like this, and I started to put them in my pocket, and I looked out at him, and I said, hey! I said, throw a blanking fastball, you blankety blank. And he looked at me like my first game in the big leagues. All these dudes are looking at me. And I just sat down on the bench. And I could feel people in the dugout looking at me like, what is this dude? I mean, there were a couple dudes in there that had 15. Rick Dempsey, he had 18 years in the big leagues,
Yeah.
Next at bat, first pitch, fastball, boom, hit a base hit. By the way, change-ups were one of my favorite pitches because I stayed back a lot. But I was so fired up in the first at bat, I couldn't do anything. So the next at bat, he threw me a fastball, and I got my first major league base hit to go to left center field. And I got to first base, and he was yelling and cussing at me and stuff. And I just looked over and I said, "Thank you." And they take the ball out, and we've got the ball in right in the other room. So that was an incredible feeling. And then we were playing Boston and the Yankees, and I started to see Dave Winfield, Tony Armas, Jim Rice. These dudes were huge. I mean, just massive dudes. And I started to say to myself, my gosh, man, do I belong with these dudes? Well, I only was there for 10 days, and I think I got 7 or 8 at bats or something. And then the next year, they sent me down to AAA. I came out of spring training. I was now on the, quote, roster. You have a 25-man team and a 40-man roster. The 40-man all go to spring training, the big league camp. And then they let them go little by little by little, right? And I stayed for a pretty long time, but I knew I wasn't going to make the team then. And then I went down to AAA, and I went to Rochester, New York. And unfortunately, in Rochester, New York, I spent way too much time in Rochester, New York, because as we went along, I would go to the big leagues, go back down. Go to the big leagues, go back down. So, so I played in Rochester, and I liked playing in Rochester, but I had already had a taste of the big leagues. Mm-hmm. So, and I had a good year up there. I mean, if you look at my minor league numbers, they're all really, really good. But then they said I was going to go to the big leagues, and I broke my hand. And so,
how did you do that?
Sliding into second base, diving into second base. I hit the bag a little weird, and then the guy stepped on me, and I broke a bone. So I didn't get to go to the big leagues at all. I wasn't there one day in that season. So that was a really depressing year for me.
I was just fixing to ask, how do you keep from letting it get to you mentally when you're going? That's kind of like a yo-yo situation where you're up and down and up. You have the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated?
Well, I think I told you this before. In baseball, if you fail 7 times, you're a superstar out of 10. I mean, think about that. What world is it where you can go 3 for 10 and you're a superstar? If I hit 300 in the big leagues, superstar. That's we are used to failure. That's all I know. And I tell young kids all the time, if you can't deal with failure, you better not play.
Baseball's not for you.
No, baseball is not for you because there's a lot of failure in baseball. A lot.
Well, and just a lot of discomfort.
It's a hard life.
Yeah.
The minor leagues, I didn't talk about bus rides. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I do think people think it's glamorous once you're drafted, but yeah, you weren't flying places back then.
No,
you were
A-ball, double-A, triple-A. I mean, A-ball and double-A and rookie ball, you took buses.
It almost sounds a little bit like the military where that's basic training. Like they're trying to weed out people
That's
who...
all it is, weeding people out. You're right. And let me tell you something. I saw so many people that I played either with or against in the minor leagues that had some talent to get to the big leagues, but mentally they couldn't do it. Mentally, it is tough.
Yeah.
It really is. And I have to say this. I mean, I would say, unfortunately, whether people like it or not, it's not good to say, but I think that drinking back then probably helped me a little bit forget about things. I hate to say that, but it did. It was something that let me get, I would go out every night after a game and, I was single and I just went and just partied every day on night, unfortunately, I mean, I'm not proud of it.
I just think there's so much more information now. I feel like athletes...
Oh, nobody does that now.
I feel like athletes really know about diet and exercise because they're looking at longevity in the sport.
Sure, it's totally different now. They're totally different.
So, yeah, I think it was just a different world back then.
When I played in Japan, I ate at McDonald's every single day for lunch.
Yeah. I mean, I just think... I think it's a different world. These athletes now have their own chefs.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
Their own trainers, all that stuff. Yeah. That wasn't really happening for you back then.
We didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But AAA, we did fly. So
just give us some names. You've given us a couple, but what were some of the big names in baseball that you had looked up to in your journey that you were meeting and playing against and playing with during this time that was pretty impressive?
Eddie Murray, obviously. I mean, he played my position. Cal Ripken. I mean, even though he wasn't much older than me, I still really appreciated him. There were so many. Freddie Lynn. Freddie Lynn was a guy that I just loved. He was a left-handed hitter, had just like a perfect swing, and he ended up getting traded to us. And I actually played with him. I played a lot of golf with Freddie Lynn. He was a good dude. Oh, my gosh, Jewel. I got to play against or with my boy Kirby Puckett, who's dead now. We called him the Warthog. In that Animal House back there in Bluefield, he was playing in Elizabethton, and I was playing in Bluefield, and we got to know each other. So when he came to Bluefield, he came over to the Animal House, and we were throwing the dice against the wall down in our Animal House. So Kirby Puckett was a Hall of Famer. Doc Gooden, I played against Doc Gooden, maybe the best pitcher I ever faced. It just on and on, the dudes that have Vince Coleman, Terry Pendleton. I can go on and on again about the superstars that I played against. I mean, everywhere. A-ball, double-A, triple-A, everywhere. There was just star after star after star. Cecil Fielder, Fred McGriff, Andres Galarraga. That's why I get upset every once in a while, because in the league that I played in double-A especially, but triple-A too, I had better numbers than a lot of dudes that played first base that played long time in the big leagues. Fred McGriff, I had better numbers than him. Cecil Fielder, Andres Galarraga, I mean, he played forever, man. He was a great player. But I had better numbers than them in the minor leagues.
So I was going to ask, that was the question.
Well, the difference is that they didn't have Eddie Murray at first base.
Yeah.
So those guys and like Will Clark and all these guys, they got a chance to go and play every day. See, in baseball, the greatest feeling is if you have a bad night, to know the next day when you come in, your name's going to be on the daggone thing. I lived my whole career, except when Eddie was hurt and I was on fire in 1986. That's the only year that I knew I was going to be in the lineup. Every other year, I would have to come in and look at the line. I remember just driving to the ballpark wondering, am I going to play? And I'd walk in, and right by where we walk in, that's would be where the thing is. I would turn and I'd look, and so many times I'd be like, daggone it, man.
You felt like you had to earn it every time you were.
And then, it stinks.
Yeah.
And then what would happen is that a pitcher like Roger Clemens or somebody like that would be just sticking it up or you-know-what. And guess what? I would have to pinch hit against that guy.
Yeah.
So our whole team is getting lit by a guy.
Yeah.
And then they'd go, Whammer, go ahead. And then I have to get up there and I just, I would go in the back and hit some balls into the cage. But I'm not playing. I'm just standing there ready to go. I got my gloves on and I knew it was my time to go hit. And then sometimes it would be a closer. And they bring in a closer like this guy named Nolan Hankey for Toronto. I faced him so many times in the minor leagues and the big leagues. And he threw like 97, and he had the nastiest split finger fastball you've ever seen in your life. So his 97-mile-an-hour fastball and his 87-mile-an-hour splitter looked exactly the same out of his hand. But the fastball would go straight, and the splitter would drop. He was the hardest dude to hit. And I had to face him every single time when we played Toronto. They didn't want the right-hander, so here we go. I think I got 1 or 2 hits against him, but my gosh, I faced the nastiest dudes. And then a guy like Nolan Ryan would pitch, and they would give the other guy the day off, and then I would face him. Or knuckleballers. I was really good against knuckleballers because I stayed back. My time to play. So if I knew who was pitching the next day, like if it was Tom Candiotti or some nasty right-hander, I knew I would play because the other guy was right-handed, and they didn't want him to hit against him. So it was a terrible life. Listen, the big leagues is the best. We haven't talked about it. We'll talk about it. The big leagues is the greatest life in the world. But as far as being a baseball player, my life was not good. I was upset.
Yours was not easy.
No, it was not easy.
I was going to ask you, out of all the pitchers that you faced, which ones were the ones you really did not want to go up against?
So as a left-handed hitter, the hardest pitchers for me were left-handers that could throw the ball, that turn the ball over and run it in on my hands, and then had a slider that they would run to the outside on the outside part of the plate. That's the hardest for me as a left-hander. And there was a guy named Danny Jackson who pitched for the Kansas City Royals. He went to OU, as a matter of fact, but he only stayed 1 year. Then he left and went to junior college and then went to the pros. And there was a time, Saberhagen, right? If you go on my Instagram, you can look at it if you haven't seen it. So in this series, the first 2 at-bats of the series are against Saberhagen, who won the Cy Young. My first at-bat, home run to left field. My second at-bat, home run to right field. Then later they took him out. They brought in a reliever, and I hit a base hit against him. So I went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs. The next day, we're playing this pitcher named Charlie Leibrandt. He's a left-hander. And he couldn't break a pane of glass. I mean, he threw like 85 miles an hour, right? So I get up there, my first at-bat, and he hits me right in the back. Well, because I took Saberhagen deep twice. So I will tell you that, put my bat down, walked down to first base. I said, I understand. Luckily, he threw 85. If he'd thrown 95, I might have fallen down. But you can't let him know you're hurt unless you're really hurt. So the next at bat, he threw me a slider with a guy on second base, and I just smoked it into right center field. So I'm on fire. Then Gubasok comes, and he's like this right-hander, big, huge guy, where his ball, it's hard to explain, but you got ball. Some pitchers throw a heavy ball. Can't explain it. Don't know why. But when you hit it, it feels like a bowling ball on your. Well, this was this guy. He had a nasty sinker, and if you hit it on the end of the bat, your hands would go and I got a couple of hits against him. I'm on fire. This is the week that I won Player of the Week in the big leagues. I mean, I won Player of the Week. So the next game is Danny Jackson. And I'm telling you, I felt like I had never hit before. He wore me out. And I was on fire. Yeah. I mean, when you're on fire, you want to sleep at the ballpark and stay there. I mean,
you don't want it to end.
This dude wore me out. So he was my hardest guy to hit. And I told him that later. A couple of years later, I said, dude, I don't care who it is, Roger Clemens, whoever you want to throw out there.
Didn't want to see him go.
You were the worst, man. And he was like, well, thank you, man. And so, he was the hardest guy. But I faced a bunch of dudes that could really pitch.
Now, you go down in history as part of the Orioles team
Yeah.
that had the losingest streak ever, right?
To start a season.
Talk about that.
21 games in a row. Well, I wasn't playing much.
Yeah.
But in that 21 games, they sent me down twice, and I wasn't even playing. The second time they called me, and I said, what are you doing? Why don't you release me if you don't want me to play or trade me? Because I had to go to Rochester, and then, you're moving. By this time, I was married. I wasn't in a very good marriage, and I'm having to go back and forth. And it's just terrible. And so then I come back up, and we have lost about 16 in a row. So in 15 games, I went back and forth twice.
Wow.
So 3 games later, they come to me and tell me they're sending me down again. And I didn't even yell at them. I just talked to the reporters, and I said, I want to get out of here desperately. I'm in the airport. They've lost 18 in a row. And the clubhouse kid comes running in the airport. I'm sitting there getting ready to take it. I remember I was taking a United flight to Rochester. I was getting ready to go back. And he goes, no, don't go back. Jimmy Dwyer pulled a hamstring, and you're going to stay. So now he drives me back to the ballpark. I got to get my bag off the plane. And then we go back to the ballpark, and I'm in the lineup that night. Okay?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's even crazier when you think about it, that you're expected to be successful with that kind of mind games going on.
I was the perfect insurance policy because I showed that I could already play in the big leagues.
Yeah.
So they had lefties like Freddie Lynn, Larry Sheets, Eddie Murray at first base, a couple other guys, Jim Dwyer, and they knew if anybody got hurt, I might not be as good as them, but
you can fill in those positions.
Will fill in. Yeah. So I had a horrible situation going on. So then I come back, and I was one of the only guys who would talk to the media during this 21 thing because I knew I loved to talk. So Tim Kirchin and all those guys that are all national stars now, they would all come to me and say, Traves, what's this like? And I'd be like, it's horrible. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. It's the worst feeling in the world, man. Like Sports Illustrated were in there talking to me, because
they loved you.
Eddie Murray would be in his corner. Cal Ripken would be in the training room because no one was allowed to talk to him. So they loved me. So I
Did those guys ever get mad at you for talking?
No, because they knew that was me. No, nobody ever got mad at me on the team. They didn't care. They knew I was trying to make a living.
Were the guys on the team while you were going through this, were they empathetic? Yes. Were they kind to you?
Oh, yeah, they knew. They knew I was getting screwed.
Yeah.
They knew it. All of them did. We all know what's going on around us on a team.
Yeah.
And they knew that I could play. If you interview some of those dudes that play with me, remember, who was it? Fred McGriff came on my show about 5-6 years ago, and he was like, Traber, I said, man, you people out there don't realize, man, this Traber, he could hit. Now my numbers don't look great because I'm doing that stupid thing I was talking about where I face dudes that are shutting everybody down. Then when the pitcher that wasn't that good pitched, oh no, I was on the bench just sitting there watching our team rip them all over the place.
They were setting you up for failure.
Exactly, yeah.
So how did they finally break the streak? What happened?
We just won. We lost every possible way that you could lose. We lost 10-9. We lost 1-0. We lost 15-2. We lost every way you could lose. And of course, we're in Milwaukee, I remember, and I'm not playing. And so I'm in the back. The dude had the best bratwurst you ever had. So I'm in the back in the clubhouse just eating a bratwurst, watching the game, hoping that the coaches don't walk in and tell me. But we won. I don't even remember the game. I know we won. I know a radio host in Baltimore after about 10 losses said he was going to go up on a billboard until we won, and he had to sit up there for like 2 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because we just kept losing. 21 in a row. We're the worst start in the history of baseball. And that basically means that in April, your season's over. So it was a tough year. Really tough year. I didn't play a whole bunch that year. But then the next year was 1989, and then I played more in 89. So, but I never really. All I wanted was someone to say, "Here's 500 at bats. What can you do?" And all those other dudes that I played against, who had numbers in this league that were not as good as mine, they all got that, and they all ended up being really, really good.
Do you think God was trying to teach you a lesson during that time? What do you think was going on there?
I tried to talk to God, but back then I was such a psycho. I didn't really. I don't know, man. I was in a bad way, Jewel. You know that. I was in a bad way back then, doing too many stupid things. And like I said, my marriage was terrible. I I was in a really bad way. I'm embarrassed about it, but I tell the truth. So, yeah.
I can only imagine after what you've described and knowing what you went through that you were kind of at the end of your rope wanting to be traded or to get out of there.
Yeah, I wanted a chance.
How did that finally come about?
Well, I probably 10 times asked for a trade publicly because the media would always want to talk to me. And then...
And what were your parents saying? What was your dad saying during this time?
My dad agreed.
Yeah. He knew you were getting screwed too.
Yeah. I mean, of course, everybody knew.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. There was I listened to talk shows going home. People would call in and go, why doesn't Traber play? So anyway, we went to play a game. We were out in Anaheim playing the Angels out there. And Jim Abbott, the one-armed pitcher, who was one of the most amazing dudes you'll ever meet, he left-handed. So Milligan, the other first baseman that they brought in, who the hitting coach was almost like his father, okay? I had no chance. No chance at all. They loved him. And he's a good player, too. But I started off the year hitting better than him, and then about 5 games in, they said, we're going to let Milligan take the job and play every day. And I was like, why? I said, I'm from this organization. You go out and get him, and then you bring him in, and he gets a chance. Why won't you give me a chance to play? And they were like, well, we just want to see what he can do. And I said, to Frank Robinson, Hall of Famer, I said, that's a bunch of crap, Frank, and you know it. I said, this is disgusting. His daggone father is the hitting coach. No, you bring him in. I said, this is really weak. I said, Frank, why don't you just send me somewhere else? We can't do that. We love you, Jim. I was like, okay, whatever. So Jim Abbott is pitching, and there used to be Monday Night Baseball. So the game on the East Coast started at 8 o'clock. Well, on the West Coast, that's 5 o'clock. So the game was starting at 5 o'clock. Well, normally our games start at 7 o'clock. So we're at the ballpark early than we normally are, and no Randy Milligan. We take batting practice, no Randy Milligan. We take infield, no Randy Milligan. So it is now like 4:15. Games at 5. And Johnny Oates, God rest his soul, I love him so much. He was an assistant coach, first base coach. He came up to me and said, Trade, you're playing today. I said, oh, man, it's so beautiful. So I remember going to a payphone and making a collect call to my mama and saying, hey, I'm going to play tonight, blah, 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 boom. So I go out there and I'm stretching on the line, getting ready with Cal and everybody, and we're getting ready, blah, blah, blah. And Johnny Oates comes running out with 10 minutes before the game and says, Jim, and he knew it too. He said, Milligan got here about 15 minutes ago. They're gonna start him. And I looked at Johnny Oates and I said, are you kidding me? And he goes, I know, man. Johnny Oates we were really close. And I was so mad, Julie. You have never seen me as mad as I was, ever, okay? So I go in the dugout for the game. I sit all the way at the end of the dugout, all by myself. I mean, I'm doing what we do. I'm high-fiving and stuff, but I'm all the way at the end, big old dip in my mouth, just sitting down there. And we score like 6 runs in the first 2 innings, and we knock Abbott out of the game. So a right-hander comes in, his name is Willie Frazier. And he was good, but he wasn't great. Journeyman guy. And he proceeds in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. He pitches all of them to shut us down. Nothing. No hits, no runs. And they make it's 6-0. It goes 6-1, 6-2, 6-4, 6-5. And they tie the game in the bottom of the 8th, and it's 6-6. And Milligan's coming up. And Frank Robinson turns and goes, whammer! You're going to hit. And I was just, this is ridiculous. I wasn't warming up or nothing. So I went in there and I was up next, so I was waiting, and I got on the on-deck circle, and I stretched, and I get out there, and Willie Frazier threw me some really good pitches, so he got me to 1-2. So I'm 2 strikes, 1 ball. And I foul off 3 balls in a row. And then he throws me a ball right where I want it, and I hit a massive, massive home run. I mean, it was about as far as I could hit the ball. To right center field, way up in the stands. I run around the bases. Everybody's high, oh, great job, blah, blah, blah. And my roomie, Greg Olson, comes in, gets the save, and we win 7-6. So after the game, we go in the locker room. And Tim Kirchin and all those dudes are coming up, and they want to interview me. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, Jim, what do you think? I said, I'll tell you what I think. I think this organization is a bunch of crap. I said I was supposed to start this game because Milligan didn't get here till 4:25 in a game that starts at 5 o'clock because he thought he didn't know the time difference. And I said, and I was supposed to start, and 10 minutes before the game, they take me out. I say, you think that's a good organization? I said, this is a joke. I said, I want out of here so bad, it's ridiculous. And one of them goes, well, Frank Robinson just said to us when we were talking to him, he said, I know Jimmy would come through. And I lost it, okay? So in the paper the next day, it was like, headlines about me. And I wanted out so bad. And that's when I knew I don't care. I was thinking about quitting after the year. I wasn't going to keep doing it. I didn't want to keep doing it. Yeah. I would go somewhere else to play AAA if they'd give me a chance, right?
Right.
And then in December, I got a call from my agent, and they said, Japanese team wants to buy you. And I said, really? And I said, yeah. They said, they want to buy your contract, and they want to give you a 2-year deal.
So no other big league team was offering it, or the Orioles just wouldn't trade you?
No one could take me. I was with the Orioles unless they traded.
That's my point, though. They knew you wanted out. They absolutely would not trade you.
I told you I was the perfect, I probably was going to go back to AAA or maybe sit on the bench in big leagues. Look, if I look back on that, I probably should have fought through it, but I was so tired of it, Jewel. And I thought, okay. And they were going to pay me $300,000. And I was making like 95
to go to Japan.
Yeah. And so I said, okay. But I don't want a 2-year deal. I only want a 1-year deal. So they agreed. It was supposed to be 300 and 450 the second year.
So were you looking at it like, at least that this will release me from the Orioles?
I just wanted away from the Orioles. Yeah. I thought I would go over there and tear it up, and some other team would come and go, we'll give you a Traber chance. Back.
Yeah.
But I had such a tremendous year over in Japan that instead of the 450, they offered me 600,000. Well, I couldn't turn it down, so I went back for a second year. Well, that second year, my wife at the time, left me over there, and I literally played the best baseball that I've ever played while I was partying until 3 or 4 in the morning every night. It was the most psychotic thing you've ever seen. I don't know how I did it. This is what God gave me because I had the ability to not sleep like I should and still play well.
Yeah.
So after the season, I came back. I tried
just to do a caveat in there for people not thinking this is a good way to behave is that you pay for this years later in your life with what you do to your body.
No doubt.
So not great. Not a great idea.
No, it's horrible.
But
I mean, I'm not bragging about this stuff.
No. I just wanted to say that for the youngsters listening.
Well, if there's youngsters listening, don't ever do the stuff that I did. I mean, I was ridiculous. But then I come home. I remember it. She had sold my truck. So I go and get a truck, and I drive up to Rochester where she was staying, and I'm trying to make things work, and they offer me $900,000 with incentives that would put me up near 1.1 million. And 100,000 of the incentives were if unless I died, I would make them.
Yeah.
So I was going to make $1 million.
Or more. Yeah.
Yeah. This is in 1992. So I was going to take the deal, and I thought I should try to make my marriage work, and I didn't take it. Now, it sounds ridiculously stupid now, but if I wouldn't have taken that, I would have never met you.
She told you at the time, if you do that, I'm divorcing you. So you had a decision to make. Right.
So my agent started talking to teams, and the Cleveland Indians said, we'll take him to spring training and see what happens. And they had a really young first baseman, and he wasn't very good, actually. He never really turned out to be anything. So they gave me $50,000 to come and $25,000 if they released me. So I thought, okay, I'll go do that, because let me tell you something. If I would have went through spring training and got released, I could have probably gone back to Japan. Mm-hmm. But they had their Americans and everything. So anyway, so I go out there and I'm having a really good thing. And manager loves me. This team is loaded with young stars, right? And I'm the old guy, and they make fun of me, and we have a great time. And the young kid's first base not doing anything. There's another kid on the team called Mike Aldretti, and he and I were fighting for the same job, left-handed hitter, and we became best friends, fighting for the same job. I will tell you that I'm not lying to you. When he got up to hit in spring training, I didn't want him to get a hit.
Sure.
Just telling you, but I want a job. So
You're a competitor. Yeah.
So the last day of spring training, when everybody had their rosters set all over the league, they call me in. They made a trade for this young kid called Sorrentino, young first baseman. And he was a good player, young, really young. And they bring him in, and they release me and Aldretti, both of us. They let both of us go. And Mike Hargrove, the manager, and John Hart, the guy I told you about a long time ago, he was the general manager of Cleveland. That's one of the reasons why they brought me in. And both of them have tears in their eyes when they're releasing me. I said, listen, fellas, thanks for giving me a chance. I understand, blah, blah, blah. I was nice about it. And then I think I'm done with baseball. So I go back and I, trying to figure out if I can keep the marriage together and everything like that. And that season was so hard for me because baseball was not out of my system. And you know this, I tell people the worst thing, Julie, that ever happened as far as my players and friends was when I was in the big leagues, I would have so many players that I played with in the minor leagues that would meet me in different cities from where they were from or against me that I knew. And they would yell, Whammer. Well, if somebody yelled Whammer, I knew they knew who I was. I'd look over and I'd say, oh, wow. So I'd come over the stands and I'd hug them and blah, blah, blah. And people would ask me for autographs and I'd be talking to them and signing the autographs. And almost all of them would say, gosh, I wish I would not have given it up, man. I really wish. And now these dudes are like 30, And some of them who said that, in my mind, I would think, yeah, you're right. You probably had a chance. Some of them I would say, you had no chance. But every one of them might say, yeah, dude, you know what, though, man? Just go live your life. This is hard.
But it was
whatever.
kind of a shoulda, woulda, coulda.
A lot.
Always.
And I said to myself, I'm never going to be that guy. So I decided, my agent got me a job with the Angels, but they wanted to send me to Mexico. And they paid me twice as much money than anybody else in the entire league in Mexico. I mean, they were paying me like $15,000 a month, which was pretty good money.
Now, how old are you at this point?
Well, it's 93, so I'm 31. And then they told me they had this first baseman who was young. His name was J.T. Snow. And they thought he was going to be a star. But they wanted insurance with me. Here I am again, insurance. Yeah. And they told me flat out, they said, go to Mexico and tear it up. And if JT Snow doesn't play well, we'll bring you up. So he went 7 for 63.
Wow. It's not great.
Is about as bad as you can do in the big league, right? Most people they'd send down. And I went to Mexico and I set the all-time record for RBIs in the league. Just tore the league to shreds. And they never brought me up one time.
What do you think the reason for that was?
I don't know. I think they had agreement with Mexico. They knew that I was good. They wanted me to go down there just in case maybe JT Snow got hurt or something. Right. They needed a first, because I think in the minor leagues, they weren't good at first base. And they didn't want to send me to AAA because they wanted to develop some people. So send them to Mexico, see what happens. Well, I had a great life down there. That's when I got divorced. I went down there to Mexico. I played unbelievable baseball. Again, drinking all them Mexican beers, blah, 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 blah. Crazy. Earring, long hair. I mean, I just didn't care about anything. And when I left there, I knew that I was done with baseball. And then, of course, about 3 or 4 months later, I met the sweet girl, you. But I never one time said to myself, gosh, I wish I was playing baseball. But one time I got close. And that was when I was calling the Arizona Diamondback games. And it was Game 7 of the World Series. And Curt Schilling, who played with me when I was with the Orioles, he was a youngster, a young punk, too. I mean, he was just a snotty little punk. Had, cut his hair like the dude from Major League. I mean, he was just weird. And he was a youngster. So basically, when you're an older player, you look up to the older players and treat them good. Well, now I get to the Diamondbacks, and he's a superstar.
Right.
and I'm out of the game.
He was big leaguing you a little bit. I do remember that.
He big leagued me all year long.
Yeah.
Okay, all year long.
He was super sweet when the cameras were rolling.
He was unbelievable.
He was a big leaguer.
So we're out there at batting practice, and you know the pitcher hits in the National League, so he was getting ready. He was taking batting practice with the team, and I'm standing there by the cage, and he comes walking up to me, and I'm like, oh no, what is he going to say? You know, something stupid to me, and he goes, Whammer, did you ever think, it was all about him, did you ever think that I would be pitching in Game 7 of the World Series? And I said, Shill, I said, I never thought that you'd be alive now, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this, dude. There's nobody else that everybody would want in this game more than you, man. And then he goes, thanks, man. And that was it. That was the only time all year he was nice to me. Yeah. 7th game of the World Series. And I thought to myself, boy, I would love to be playing in this game. But that was like for 10 seconds.
But I got to tell you, that whole season with the Diamondbacks that you were a part of was amazing, just a magical.
Oh.
You felt it. Everybody in the crowd felt it. It was magical, and that was because I never got to see you play baseball. I never got to be a part of it, but that was and what an amazing entry into baseball. That was my only opportunity, but I understood why you loved it. You know what I mean? It really made me fall in love with it too.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You've painted a picture of it was pretty difficult. A lot of highs and lows.
Yeah.
A lot of frustrations. But do you have any regrets from that? Do you wish you had done anything different? Do you think, no, I did it all exactly right to lead me to where I am now? Or are there times when you still have some regrets about decisions you made back then?
I wish I would have been married to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that, you know, how you support me. I never got any support. I remember one night in Japan, I came home and I struck out 3 times in a game, and I never strike out, right? I mean, especially over in Japan. And I don't know what was wrong with me, but I just couldn't hit. Came home, told my ex-wife that, you know, I had a day, and all she did was scream at me and say how bad her day was. And I thought, okay, thanks. I just needed a little bit. I got nothing. So if I would have had you, I think I would have been a lot better. And I didn't work hard as I should. I don't think there's no doubt about it. I was not a hard worker. And what I mean that is, my coach, John Hart, would tell people, don't watch Traber in batting practice or infield. Wait till the game comes on. He said, when the lights come on, this dude can really play, but don't watch him in practice. Because I'd mess around. And I mean, I didn't like practice.
Do you know that when we went back to Maryland and I got to meet your football coaches?
Yeah.
You remember one of them came and sat with me in the stands and was talking to me, not you.
Right.
And he told me the same thing about you. He said Jim was a guy that he turned on when the lights came on. He said it was just like night and day when the lights came on. Do you think that was one of the problems that you had, is that maybe you had that reputation that you
No, because they saw me with the lights on.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? I used to tell people who practice. Allen Iverson did. You remember, Jay? Allen Iverson one time did this big long deal. Practice? What are you talking about? Practice? But I didn't dog it in practice.
Right.
I just didn't care.
I guess I'm trying to get my head around why somebody who wants to be successful, these teams want to be successful, why they didn't see what you were doing and give you the chance.
I wasn't in the best of shape.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
You were an unlikely superstar, but
I didn't work hard enough. I mean, I can say that. I mean, I ended up playing almost 3 years in the big leagues, which if you'd have told me when I'm 5 years old, I told my mom and dad I'm going to play in the big leagues. If they would have said, well, you're going to play there for 3 years, I would have been so excited. It'd been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But to this day, I don't ever get upset about it or anything like that or dwell on it. I don't sit around and mope. But I will tell you, I wish that somebody would have said, let's give this guy 500 at bats.
Sure.
I truly believe, maybe I'm wrong, but at least I would know. I'd sit here now and say, yeah, they gave me 500 at bats and I couldn't do it. But I truly believe I would have.
What advice do you give to the young man who's maybe in high school and he's listening to this and he wants to play in the big leagues someday? What kind of advice do you have for the youngsters?
Don't listen to anything I did. Listen, let it be known, again, I said this earlier, maybe in the last podcast, It is the hardest sport there is to play because of the minor leagues. It is so hard to play in the minor leagues. I don't think y'all understand. You're not staying in the Ritz, okay? You're not staying in a Hyatt. I mean, sometimes you're staying at a motel on the side of the road. I did that many times. And it's hard. And there's so many people. I had a couple high school kids, Jewel, dudes that were drafted above me. One guy was drafted in the 6th round from the Maryland area. He left after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He gave up his career that he wanted to play his whole life. He's 18 years old. He said, I'm done. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Because, I think we got to know him a little bit. He was from a rich family. But now you're not getting what the heck you usually get. It is hard.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you go out of high school.
So
now, if you get $1 million, $5 million or something, then it makes it a little bit easier, but it's still a hard life.
So it's really just get your head right to have that discipline to
mentally. Baseball is a mental game. And
yeah.
There's a bunch of people that can play. If you're in high school, there's a bunch of dudes that are good. You know they are. But less than 1% make it to the big leagues. Less than 1%. And I'm going to tell you, you want to know the thing I'm the proudest of? I mean, getting to the big leagues I'm proud of. But the most proud thing that I had, you're going to trip. I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but yeah, I was the 21st pick, 21st round. So that means that I don't even know what number I was, 500 and something, drafted. I was the very first person from the Orioles class to get to the big leagues. Nobody above me.
Really?
I made it faster than anybody else in the big leagues to get to the big leagues. So I was really proud. Look, again, cocky. I should have been about a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And I played 3 years in the big leagues. That's about right. And a lot of dudes that got drafted before me on other teams too, never made it. Never. 1st round picks, no chance. But I was proud of that. And remember, if you're a 1st or 2nd round pick, they just give you chance after chance.
Right.
If I would have gone down to Bluefield and stunk it up, they'd have released me. 21st round pick, get out of here. Yeah. Especially because I was older. Even though I was only 22, 21, they're 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids,
Right.
So, and one of my guys I played with in rookie ball that was drafted in my year was Billy Ripken, Cal's junior brother. And we became tremendous friends. We're still friends to this day. And I moved ahead of him because he was young, but of course he came to the big leagues. And I had some friends that came up with me later on. But yeah, the big leagues is the greatest life in the world. The minor leagues is the hardest life in the world.
Yeah. I do have this question for you. I feel like baseball is one of those things you have to go all in. Like mentally, you have to say, I'm going to get to the big leagues. I'm going to stick this out.
Right.
Did you have a backup plan? Like
Heck
of what you want to do with your life ever?
No, heck no.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now is because those guys that covered me, Tim Kirchin and Richard Justice and those guys were all now superstars. They told me when they would interview me, hey, after you're done with this, you should get into this
So
business.
that's where
you really can talk.
They were the ones who planted that seed, huh?
Yep. And then Tom Holliday, when I came back and I was living in Stillwater, he called me up and said, hey, they got a job down here. They're looking for somebody. Why don't you go down there? And I drove down, and then 2 hours later, I was on the radio.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I've been doing it for 33 years.
And every year you do a baseball show.
Yeah, baseball show.
Kirchin comes on your
absolutely.
show.
Yeah, all of those dudes have been on before. All of those superstar
I love that.
guys. Yeah. Oh, we're great friends. Timmy just a couple of years ago got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's one of the best writers that's ever been put on the earth for baseball. He's amazing. And yeah, I mean, you develop some relationships. That's one thing that I regret. I had a lot of great friends in the minor leagues, and I don't have any idea where any of them are. You met one of my best guys, Eddie Williams. Remember him?
I do.
Oh, I loved him. I played with him in Mexico. What a great guy. But I think
we went to see him play here at AAA.
Do you remember what I said?
I totally remember. You were screaming at him, and he was ignoring you.
I was calling him he was terrible and everything, screaming at him.
And he finally looked over at you and realized.
And then he just went like this.
No. Then he did the Babe Ruth thing.
Babe Ruth, that's
and
right.
He pointed.
And then he went deep. He went deep in the game. Remember that? Remember we went out to dinner with him? What a great man Eddie was, man.
I do have one last question, though. I do want you to give some advice because you mentioned just briefly, we had decided we're not going to talk about your marriage. We've talked about that in this podcast. But I do want you to talk about the youngsters with the partying and the drinking and specifically how the wrong woman can affect your career if you really want to do something.
My dad swears that I'd have stayed in the big leagues for 10 years if I wouldn't been married to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, your home life and what you do away from the ballpark is just as important as what you do on the field. I don't know how I made it. I mean, God was obviously on my shoulder. I mean,
you had a mama at home praying for you.
Well, you're right.
All day long, every day.
And my mama, God rest her soul, she did not know the things that I did. She may not want to know.
No, but I know she was praying for you.
No doubt, prayed for me every day. So, but yeah, I had her praying, and I know that God was on my side. But if you're a youngster or you have a son or a daughter who wants to go play softball or whatever, their outside life is just as important as on the field. It really is. I don't know how I made it, but I think God gave me an incredible ability to play the game, and I loved playing the game. So I was ready to play when I was on the field.
For the love of the game. Isn't that a movie?
Yeah, it's for the guy that stole my life.
Oh, stop it. Well, thanks, sweetie, for sharing your baseball story. That was good stuff. Some of that I hadn't even heard.
Really?
I love it. Yeah.
It's I'm an old man now. I did it a long time ago. Think about that. I got drafted in 1982, Julie. That is 44 years ago. And
last we heard, you were still on the top 100 sports moments in Japan, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was huge in Japan.
He's huge. A legend in Japan.
Tell me what happened when we went over there.
It's true. Yeah. I had gotten a trip with Panasonic, I think took us over to Japan, and they purposely scheduled our trip around the All-Star game.
That's right, when they played the United States.
When they played the United States, and they specifically said, we want your husband to come. And word was out that Jim Traber.
How many reporters and stuff were around?
Traber-san was coming.
Traber-san, yeah.
And
there are about 50 of them, weren't
boy,
there?
I got to tell you, just going to a game
They're crazy.
In the Japanese ballpark was insane. The seats were like this big.
The whole game. Toreba! I mean, the whole game. And
people are eating octopus on a stick.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
But
I kind of liked it, man.
Did you like it?
If I would have been married to you, Julie, we would have had the greatest time you've ever imagined. I mean, we were making a bunch of money. We could do whatever we want to do. You'd have been at the games. See, my ex-wife didn't even come to games.
You were a rock star over there.
I was. I mean, when I walked around, people stared at me because I had long hair and a beard. I mean, I looked so different. Over in baseball in Japan, I mean, I was like Sting. Walking down the street. People went crazy.
What was funny is our guide that was taking us around with Panasonic, people kept asking him if you'd tried to beat him up yet.
Right.
So yeah, you obviously had a reputation over there.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I was crazy.
That was a lot of fun.
Toreba-san.
Toreba-san.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, sweetie.
All right, Jill.
I'm sure proud of you.
Well, thank you. I'm proud and glad that I met you. I mean, listen, would I have liked to make $1 million? Yes, but I'm so glad I didn't do it because I'd have never met you.
But you gave up $1 million just so you could be with me. So you got that going for you.
Our life is worth a whole bunch more than $1 million. Let's thank our great sponsors. Our man. J.R. Holmesy, I've been talking a lot, Jewel. J.R. Holmesy and Associates, he helped us so much during our car crash, and he can do anything for you. He's top 10 in the whole state of Oklahoma.
He's number one to us,
he's
for
definitely
sure.
number one. If they put a number one, it would be him. But he's a personal injury lawyer. He does a great job. He helped our neighbors.
Yeah.
They loved him. You'll love him, too. 405-524-1011. And
Rob's Ranch.
Can't tell you how much I love them. I've told Julie this before. She says no, but I've done very little good in my life. But it's been wonderful to just be a really little small part of helping some guys get into, and I got guys that are getting their rings, like their 2-year ring and stuff. You know how cool that is? We've been with them for a while now.
It's Path to Miracles. That's a perfect tagline for them.
It is. Go to robsranch.org and you can see what they do. And they have scholarships. If you don't have the money, they will definitely help.
But get some help. Change your life. Change your family's life.
You're messing your family up, trust me. All right, this has been a great thing. Thank you, Julie. Love you. Don't forget, we're on YouTube, Julie and Jim Traber Podcast. Like us.
Subscribe.
We want you to be a big part. And at Jim Traber on Instagram and at Traberhood as well. You find out everything
And
there.
Sports Animal. You can
That's
stream your radio
that's
show.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with the Julie and Jim Traber podcast.